Hi sir, to you all faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. We begin right away with our Majestaries. In exactly 1 week, the Holy Father Pope Leo the 14th, the head of the Roman Catholic Church in Cameroon, will be arriving the country, and preparations are upbeat, especially in the Douala, Yaoundé and Bamenda archdioceses, which the Holy Father Pope Leo will visit. In Douala, works have been accelerated and almost completed at the Catholic Hospital in Nilong, where the Pope will visit the sick, and at the Japoma Stadium, where Mass will be said. Our reporter Innocent Aze visited most of those sites, and he will be telling us more in this news edition. And also, insecurity on the rise in Cameroon. A lady in her 40s was brutally stabbed to death alongside her companion or her partner in Makepe with the complicity of her night watchman. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your usual confidence. We begin with this sad human interest story in Douala. Insecurity continues on the rise in the economic capital in Makepe here in Douala. A lady in her late 40s was brutally stabbed to death. That was with her partner on their way back from an evening. And the reports we got on the field from her family members indicates that it was in complicity with her night watchman. Details with Loma Eru, who visited the family residence in Makepe today.
It was on a Good Friday, the day Jesus died, that Eyango Ebonge Catherine, the sibling of late Kotobas, and her companion were murdered in her compound. According to the deceased, it was her own gate man who killed her. After the incident, she was still talking. She told me in the car that it was the gate man who came with people to stab her. I don't know what happened after. An announcement which came as a shock to the family. My cousin called me by 8:30 p.m. I didn't see the call at the moment. I called him and he told me I should come quickly. They have stabbed Cathy and her companion. I rushed home and I discovered the horrible scene. The presumed murderer worked with her before leaving months ago and came back to take his place, which was already occupied, but did everything to take it back.
Après, elle m'a encore dit que Henriette, tu vois ça comment? Si on ne prend pas le gars ci, on va encore chercher quelqu'un.
She finally accepted him because she was already used to him. She told the gate man that was going to call Gaston. That is how he came back.
Il connaît déjà un peu comment le travail se passe.
From the relatives says, Eyango Ebonge Catherine and her companion had no other problem than normal reprimandations on the actions of their gate man, who had strange reactions recently. An action who was well planned and nothing was stolen. In the car, she was still talking. She gave me her phone and the money she had in hand. I don't know what happened to the gate man to do such an action.
Sad indeed. And over to the west region, where local inhabitants of Bamenting and also Kinegang, all in the Galim subdivision, have urged authorities to restore electricity in that area. The people are gone for several months without lights. Those in those villages, most of whom are business persons, say they have been without lights for at least 2 months, and this is negatively affecting their daily activities, especially their businesses, as Mala Glory tells us in the report which comes up next.
Reliable electricity supply is essential for comfortable living and business growth. Unfortunately, this has been the reverse for the past 2 months in Bamenting, a locality situated in the Bambutus division, Galim subdivision, approximately 25 kilometers from the town of Bafoussam, West region. The erratic power supply has significantly hampered economic activities. Butchers say they are forced to travel to neighboring villages to preserve their meat, while local tellers say they are often in conflict with their clients when deadlines are not respected. And in Kiningang, another locality still in the Galim subdivision, has similar worry. Here, the situation is even worse, as most of the electric poles are falling, posing a great danger to local residents. The people say their challenges are enormous. Many cannot use their phones due to low battery, as they are only rechargeable in nearby Mbuda. Children can't study at night due to lack of electricity. Paradoxically, these communities live next to the Baminging Dam, intended to contribute to the nation's hydroelectric production. Yet, they remain without power. They are already bearing the brunt of the dam's environmental and social impacts and are urgently calling on the authorities and NAO to restore power and replace the faulty infrastructures. Sustainable solutions such as strengthening the local distribution network are essential to ending this ordeal.
And now over to one of our lead stories. Viewers, in exactly 1 week, the newly almost recent elected head of the Roman Catholic Church will be arriving in Cameroon. Preparations are gaining steam at the Yaoundé, Bamenda and Douala archdioceses, which the Pope will visit. In Douala, works have been accelerated and almost completed at the Catholic Hospital in Ilong, here in Douala, where the Pope will visit the sick, and also at the GHAMUGHA Stadium, where the Holy Father will say Mass. Our reporter Innocent has visited those sites, and he tells us more in the report which comes up next.
In just 1 week, Pope Leo XIV is expected in Cameroon as part of his pastoral tour of Africa. The Holy Father will spend 3 days in the country from April 15th to the 18th, with a key stop in Douala in the Litowa region on April 17th. Ahead of the visit, both spiritual and infrastructural preparations are intensifying at the St. Paul Catholic Church in Ilong, Douala, where the Pope is scheduled to make his first stop after arriving at the Douala International Airport.
We are almost 95% ready, because and especially here at St. Paul, and every Mass we talk about this. We are mobilizing the population, and the impact is that the Pope is coming right to the house where we are. It's a privilege for us, and so we are preparing spiritually, like the Archbishop of Douala said, that the coming of the Pope needs spiritual, moral, physical preparation, and that is what you see. It's not all about just painting the road, fixing the road, but our hearts should be fixed. You know, the road to our hearts and to our soul should be fixed, so that the Pope will not come and meet the contradiction.
The World School of the Douala Archdiocese and the World College are prepared themselves to welcome the Pope. Each school have received the program, and we have some organization. We take some precaution as water, as food, that children can be in need. So we think that we are okay to welcome the Holy Father.
This stretch of road leads to the St. Paul Catholic Hospital in Ilong, Douala. At first, it was in a deplorable state. Today, the road is completely rehabilitated, facilitating access, and of course, for patients to flexibly head to the hospital, and also Christians who are going to the St. Paul Catholic Church. Thanks to the arrival of the Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, to Cameroon. And this is one of the areas he's expected to visit in the economic capital city, Douala, before heading to Japoma.
Bon, cette route, en effet, elle était vraiment...
Before, this road was extremely bad. Mobility on the stretch during the rainy season was challenging.
Ici, là, il y avait...
Garbage was piled along the road. It was disgusting.
Des rangées de mer de l'eau. Et surtout quand il pleuvait, aussi, il y avait l'eau qui ressortait des rigoles.
With the arrival of the Pope, today we can bounce and smile using the roads.
Bon, le Pope nous fait grâce.
Here we are at the St. Paul Catholic Hospital in Douala. It is one of the stopovers of Pope Leo the 14th. He will be visiting the sick persons, communing with them. Here, the infrastructures of the hospital, everything has been refurnished, and just showing you how ready the hospital is to welcome the Holy Father. As part of his itinerary, Pope Leo XIV will also visit the GHAMUGHA Stadium site, the second and final stop in Douala, before returning to Yaoundé later that same day. From the St. Paul Nilong area, where Pope Leo XIV is expected to make the first stop over upon arriving the economic capital city Douala, we are exactly at the GHAMUGHA Stadium site, where the Holy Father is expected to have a pontifical mass with Christians in the Archdiocese of Douala come April the 17th. Right here behind me, notably in the parking lot, we noticed that 3 makeshift infrastructures are under construction by the military engineering units. Though we've been prohibited from filming inside, the works that we see are advancing, though they made us to understand that they will actually be completed before the arrival of Pope Leo XIV. Regarding road infrastructures, everything is also being put in place. The works are intensifying to make sure that the arrival of the Holy Father is smooth here in the Archdiocese of Douala, notably at the GHAMUGHA site, where it's expected to have the pontifical mass with thousands of Christians expected on the 17th of April. Reporting live at the GHAMUGHA site, we are Innocent Aze, Zures Yopa for Equinoxe Television.
Thank you, Asa. Just to mention that the Archbishop of the Douala Archdiocese, His Grace Samuel Kleda, has been multiplying trips to the GHAMUGHA Stadium to ensure that the works are going as expected. And we'll be talking more about preparations ahead of the Pope's visit in the second part of the news. Now, out of our national frontiers, the United States and Iran have agreed to a 2-week provisional ceasefire announced late on Tuesday, April 7, 2026. The deal brokered by Pakistan staged off a civilization-ending escalation threatened by U.S. President Donald Trump. Key terms of the ceasefire included a temporary 14-day window to allow for negotiations on a definitive peace agreement. For me, I'm from Sanda with more.
The United States of America and Iran have agreed on a 2-week ceasefire, with the U.S. halting attacks in Iran in exchange for a safe passage through the strategic Strait of Hormuz. The agreement, brokered by Pakistan, aims to pave a way forward for negotiations on a permanent ceasefire. President Donald Trump announced the ceasefire on Truth Social, stating that the United States had already met and exceeded all military objectives and is close to a definitive agreement on a long-term peace with Iran and the entire Middle East. Iran's Foreign Minister Saeed Abbas, on his part, confirmed that Iran will cease defensive operations if attacks are halted, allowing safe passage through the strategic Strait of Hormuz for 2 weeks. The ceasefire comes after Trump's deadline for Iran to surrender, which drew widespread condemnations. The agreement is seen as a fragile truce, with both parties attempting to save face. The Pope's reaction to the U.S.-Iran ceasefire is one of real hope. Pope Leo XIV welcomed the announcement, saying it is a sign that negotiations can resume to achieve lasting peace. The Pope had strongly condemned President Donald Trump's threat to annihilate Iran, calling it truly unacceptable and a moral issue concerning the goods of the entire population. He urged citizens to contact their leaders and demand peace, emphasizing that attacks on civilian infrastructure are against international law. The Pope's message echoes his previous appeal for peace in the Middle East, where he urged leaders to prioritize dialogue over violence.
And now let's talk sports. The under-17 Lions of Cameroon have been launched in Group B of the Africa Cup of Nations that does in that category. The under-17 Lions will have as opponents Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda and the DRC. Elsewhere, Senegal have been given a boost in their hope of keeping the AFCON trophy after they officially received the final document, which has detailed information about the reasons they were sanctioned by CAF. Sumanji Kangibril with more.
Weeks plus after CAF appeals jury's decision on dethroning Senegal as champions was made known, the document has been received by officials of the Senegalese Football Federation. According to the document, members of the Appeals Commission took into consideration many reports before taking their decision. One of those reports came from the referee of the final, DR Congo's Jean-Jacques Ndalandala. For the referee's report, there was a temporal break of about 12 minutes during the final. Meanwhile, the coordinator of the match was categorical, saying Senegal abandoned the match. With these two conflicting reports, lawyers specialized in sport issues say Article 5 of IFAT states that the referee's decision remains final over that of the match coordinator. It should be recalled that CAF rejected a request from the Royal Moroccan Football Federation, which demanded the football body to ask for the return of medals, trophy and prize money already given to Senegal. With this latest update, the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, will be the lone institution to give its final judgment on who retains the AFCON 2025 trophy. As the Senegalese people await CAF's decision, the president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, is in Senegal. He was received by the president of the Senegalese Football Federation, Abdoulaye Fall, upon his arrival. Many say the visit of CAF's president is first to make peace after the incident of the last AFCON. Still within the confines of the Confederation of African Football, it will be from June 19 through July 18, 2027 that the 36th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will take place. The choice for the period was because it will be the most favorable climatic period for the East African nations that will be hosting the tournament. The tournament will be hosted by 3 nations, Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya. It is the first time in the history of African football that 3 nations will be hosting the tournament, and it is also the first time the competition will be held in East African region.
Thanks, Matt, and that brings us to the end of the first part of the news. Let's now take talking point. And we go right away to talking point. Viewers, our guest tonight is Reverend Sister Regular GHAMUGHA. Thank you, Sister, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Points tonight. Reverend Sister, you are of the congregation of the Sisters of St. Therese of the Child Jesus, and your vocation most often is based on charity and taking care of the underprivileged, like the sick people and prisoners. Just mention that you work at the New Bell Central Prison and also at the Ngoma Prison. Now, Sister Regular, in exactly 1 week, the head of the Roman Catholic Church will be in Cameroon. You are living a consecrated life. What does the presence of the Pope symbolize to you and extensively to the congregation of the Sisters of St. Therese of the Child Jesus?
I am a Sister of St. Therese of the Child Jesus, and I am a social worker in Victim Offender Prison, working in New Bell and in Ngoma, here in Douala. The visit of the Pope to Cameroon, it is a blessing to us, first as Sisters of St. Therese, and to us Cameroonians, because it is one of his apostolic journeys, and it is really a blessing. Pope Leo, as we know, Pope Leo XIV, is an Augustinian, and he follows the spirituality of St. Augustine, and St. Augustine was an African. So we can say that Pope Leo is coming back to his homeland. Then imagine the joy of a mother knowing that the child or the son is coming back home. How happy that mother will be. That is how happy I am, and that is how happy we are in Cameroon to receive the Pope. It is really a blessing to us. It is a deep spiritual blessing, the visit of the Pope. He's going to come to Yaoundé, Bamenda, and Douala. In these different places, he will celebrate Mass and he will have meeting, not only with Christians, not only with Catholic Christians, but he's going to have a meeting with everyone, showing that we are all children of God without discrimination. During the meeting, he brings a powerful message, and the message which he brings is that of peace, hope, and he will encourage us. We all know that we need peace, not only in our families, we need peace in Cameroon, we need peace in the world, and we even need peace within ourselves. And above all, we need that hope that will strengthen us. Many people have gone through a lot. Many people have lost their lives. The Pope is coming to give us that message of hope that will enlighten and strengthen our faith.
Now, Sister Regular, you are a social worker, and we know the two places the Pope will visit are an orphanage in Yaoundé and a Catholic hospital in Nilong, in Douala, where he is going to visit and also bless the sick people. What's the spiritual connotation of those visits, the visits to an orphanage and to a hospital?
Thank you. For me, personally, this is a very, very touching thing. These are places, the orphanage and the hospital, these are places where you really see those who are truly suffering, those who are in pain. Imagine seeing children who do not know their parents, those in the hospital who cannot pay their hospital bills. If you go to different hospitals, you will listen to the stories and you will feel sad. Some people don't have someone to cater for them. And when I heard of the fact that he's going to the hospital, I was very, very touched, in that it reminded me of the gospel passage in Matthew chapter 25, verse 35 to 36, where Jesus said, "When I was sick, you visited me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me water. When I was in prison, you came to me." And this also is an opportunity for me to talk about my apostolate. I work in the prison. So the Holy Father coming to visit those who are in the orphanage and in the hospital, it is really, really significant. And he's teaching us not only to do spiritual works of mercy, but also to do corporal works of mercy, which I have just listed: to visit the sick, to bury the dead, to visit those in prison. And the Holy Father is actually doing it. He is teaching us by example. He is also following the command of Jesus Christ. And the Holy Father is teaching us not only to live through words, but to do it with concrete actions, as he is doing. He's coming to visit those in the orphanage and going to the hospital. He's inviting us to do that. And Jesus, during his lifetime, did the same. Jesus identified himself with those who were in need, not with the rich. And that is exactly what the Holy Father is coming to do. Definitely, the Holy Father is coming also to help those in these different situations to have hope, to feel healed. His presence and his words is going to comfort them, will be a form of consolation to all whom he will encounter.
Sister, the Pope will be going to Bamenda, and we cannot ignore all what is happening there. But why, despite all what is happening in Bamenda, the northwest and southwest region, Pope Leo still insists on visiting the war-torn northwest?
Now, the Pope is going to brave all of it because he is someone who has passion for humans. He believes that we are all humans and we have dignity, no matter your state and your situation. So he is neither afraid of anything, but he knows that we are human beings, and he's coming to us to help us to believe that there is God, that God is still God, who cares for us, who loves us, and who is still there even when we are suffering. He reminds us that every person matters, that life has dignity, and that we should be with people in their pain, not when they are rejoicing. The Pope is coming in this difficult time because he knows that we need him. He is not going to come when we are rejoicing and celebrating. He's going to Bamenda knowing the situation, but he is still going there in that situation to go and identify with the people, with his people, like Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Sister Regular. Now, you treat with prisoners almost on a daily basis. You work with those incarcerated in New Bell and in Goma. We can only imagine what it takes to be in contact with this group of people considered as outcasts. Tell us more about your vocation, the Prison Care Apostolate.
Thank you, Sister. It is not easy. It takes the grace of God to work with prisoners. And it takes the grace that builds on a person's nature. And that nature of yours or mine, which the grace of God has built on, is enabling me to work with the prisoners. Like now, the Pope is coming. He is coming to show the compassionate face of Jesus Christ to the less privileged. He's teaching me by example that wherever I find myself, as I am in the prison, the prisoners should feel that compassion. The prisoners should feel that they are humans. The prisoners should not feel less humans. The prisoners should feel that they have a God and they have people who care for them. So in the prison, I try my best to bring that compassionate face of Jesus Christ to all the prisoners. We know that they commit crimes, they do this, they do that, but they are still the children of God. Above all, I would like to say that the church makes each one of us feel that we are not forgotten. It is a place where hope is kept alive.
Thank you, Sister Regular. Now, before we go, do you have some words which could spiritually serve as food to the souls of some people watching us right now?
My last words are, let us as individuals follow the example of the Holy Father. Let us not talk to people only through words. Let us not advise or comfort people only through our words, but let us do it through examples, through concrete actions. Come to the prison, talk with them, give them food. They don't have what to eat. Some of them don't even have what to wear. Some are going through terrible situations. If you go to the hospital, some do not have the means to pay their hospital bills. Let us as individuals try, before the Holy Father comes, or during this period, to do one act of charity, one act of corporal work of mercy.
Thank you so much, Sister Regular GHAMUGHA, for accepting to be our guest tonight on the News and Equinoxe television, and hope we have you again. And just to let our viewers know that as we speak, the Archbishop of the Douala Archdiocese, His Grace Samuel Kleda, is presently at the St. Paul Parish in Ilong, where rehearsals are going on with choirs of the Archdiocese of Douala to welcome the Holy Father Pope Leo the 14th. That would be on the 17th of April when he will be visiting Douala. And viewers, that does it for this edition of the news. Thank you so much for always being with us. Our programs continue. Equinoxe welcomes up at 7 p.m. with Sarah Lang, and the news in the French language will be yours at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe television, and tomorrow we will be together again, same time, God willing. For now, bye-bye from us.